Hello and welcome to the Unofficial All-Stars Season 5 Super Swift Stats Synopsis. I'm your host, Kirby MD. A year ago after the season was played, I asked the members of All-Stars Season 5 to rank their opponents and teams on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best and 1 being the worst. After doing some behind-the-scenes statistical analysis, all players and teams were placed on a scale of 1 to 10. This video is here to give a quick analysis of each of the teams, their strengths, weaknesses, past performances, and to generally discuss their ability to win this season. Joining me today for commentary is the wonderful Quil J1 with the first team.
Speaking of the first team, it's Addiction. As one of the currently inactive rounds, they did not play last season, but they did play back in Season 3 where they racked up 2 kills and a 7th place finish out of 14 teams. These guys are the ultimate wildcard team, having a 9th place rated player as Hammerfan, as well as a solid long-time UHC background from Exhibit and Craft. I don't see this team falling as a casualty early on due to some general above-average game sense in PvP, but they could very easily fall prey to a stronger team early on if they push their aggression too quickly. I expect a big play from these old-timers that could shake things up in the game.
Our next team is one of the 3 newcomers to All-Stars, Agency. They're the only team to have all players involved to play every season of their recorded round, which means they haven't necessarily brought the strongest team they could have. Falling below the statistical average, Agency should be looking to pick off one of the weaker teams mid-game to pick up some gear and start their snowball attempt from there. As long as they don't run into any powerhouses early game, this team could show up as a decent mid-tier team in the late game, playing a slow burn style rather than a fast and explosive game. I expect they pick up a kill or 2, but otherwise stay mostly quiet during this season.
Ambition comes next. Having racked up 5 kills total and a silver trophy in Season 1, this team remains one of the few to play all 5 seasons, and Keoki is the only player to match that achievement. They may be old school, but don't count these guys out yet, as with 10th place Bobby, these guys could come in hard. Bobby's prowess can rival some of the strongest teams here, which will make him a big target in this game. I expect them to lose part of their team early as they figure out their team's best structure to push them further into the game, but with strong support from Keoki and Miles, if they play their cards right, we could see a late game dive by 1 or 2 players from this team.
For the second new team this season, we have Back in Time, rated as the second best team in the game and having the 3rd place player BJR. This is an RR that came to do battle. Bushy and Len are also 2 extremely strong players, so I expect this team to be a strong contender for the win and to grab a large number of kills throughout this game. That said, with strong teams, over-aggression is always a concern, and if Back in Time finds themselves against another powerhouse team early on, it could very easily cripple them enough to steal that win from their grasp. They will need to pick their fights wisely, but if they do, they will be dangerous.
But if you think Back in Time is strong, enter Cataclysm, by far the number 1 team with the 1st, 2nd, and 5th best players. These guys are the pick to win this game. Their stats rating was so high it pushed the entire scale downwards to compensate. This does, however, make them a huge target in this game, and as we saw in Season 4, best teams don't always seal the deal. They came away with 5 kills, but a meager 8th place finish. If they pick their fights well, these guys will win and gather a plethora of kills along the way. The game is in their hands. How they play this will, without a doubt, shape the rest of the season.
And with that, we meet our first All-Stars winning team. Sugar was part of the AP team that won Season 1, and Timon helped guide Cynical to victory in Season 2. All 3 of these guys hadn't played much UHC recently before All-Stars 5, and as such, they do fall below average in the ratings. However, with Cynical leading the All-Stars kill board with 22 total kills, it's up to them to maintain that spot at the top. I wouldn't be surprised if they surprise another team with their skills. Their rating had the highest deviation, so it seems most teams don't know exactly what to expect from them. I expect them to walk away with a few kills from teams caught off guard, but otherwise not push too far into this game.
Another All-Stars winning team. Desire is here to fight. While only Michael is part of that team, Twinkie comes in as 8th rated player and Desire comes in at number 3. These guys are a strong team, that is no doubt, and with no weak links in the team, it'll be hard for others to find a kink in their armor. This may, however, be the most aggressive team in the game. Michael is especially known for early and mid-game fighting, which he typically does very well, but with 20 other teams roaming around, this could be a very great weakness. Regardless of the other fights they pick, these guys are a strong contender for the win and will do large damage to other powerhouse teams.
Bet you didn't expect to see Draft Crafters and All-Stars in 2019, did ya? With special guest Wee Wee, who never actually played a Draft Crafters UHC, this team is OG UHC in a nutshell. However, they also come in as one of the weakest teams in the game. In their one All-Stars appearance 5 years ago, they came dead last. Both Burble and Wee Wee hadn't played much UHC around the time of recording, and while Key is typically a solid PvP fighter, in a game of Smoovs and Brodies, it will be hard to make an impact. These guys may take a kill off another weak team, but other than that, I don't expect much PvP-wise from them.
Evolution is back for revenge after finishing 3rd in Season 3 and 2nd in Season 4. The next logical step is 1st in Season 5. Coming in at 4th place, Evolution is here to stay, and with 4th place Hunter, they will be strong combatants as per usual in the game. With 17 kills, they only need 5 more than Cynical to take the most deadly R reward, and with 60 other players, that may just be doable. While I do expect lots of kills from this team, they may just fall short of the win. Don't be surprised if come late game only 1 or 2 of these players remain, try and salvage any last kills they can get, as their early game aggression led to this exactly that last season.
The final new team fission has arrived! They may not appear the strongest team in the game, but they certainly are not the weakest. Led by 7th ranked Dafts, this team could become a dark horse for the win. All 3 players are new to All-Stars, which can create a large unknown around their actual abilities as a team unit. Glyph has also been known to take solid fights, and with Chloe to anchor the team away from high levels of aggression, this team could play the cards just right to roll up late game with some serious potential to win. If they can manage to stay out of early game fights, this team could prove the fatal blow to a weakened powerhouse team.
Rounding out the top 5 teams, we have Frenzy in their first All-Star season. They managed a solid 3rd place with 4 kills, and with both Coolest and Dylan not the best, but still strong fighters. This team could end up a strong mid-game contender. They could also be a bit rusty, as these guys haven't played much UHC around recording time. Could swing either way. One-on-one, these guys should be able to handle most of the competition in the game, so if they can manage fights that win, they could walk away with a decent number of kills. I expect some early and mid-game kills, and weakened team late game that could get swept away by a stronger team.
If you thought seeing Draft Crafters in 2019 was crazy, they brought back GGNC. These guys were the dominant PvP faction in the early days of our Ultra Hardcore, taking down other groups and servers with ease, but that was 6 years ago. When this was recorded, Frankie was starting his UHC Rebirth, and the other 2 hadn't even touched the UHC in a while, causing the ranking to be the lowest in the entire game, and all 3 players' rankings also fall into the bottom 20. If you want to enjoy a match of soothing Scottish accents, then this is the team to watch for you, just don't expect great PvP action from their side.
Hilton Quiver returns to UHC, having participated in both seasons 2 and 3, ranking in 4 kills as a solid lower to mid-level team. While Jake was top rated 20, his 2 teammates fell into the bottom 10, creating possibly the biggest gap at any one All-Stars team here. The Quackins Nerdba had been seen on r/Ultra Hardcore for a bit, so unless Jake pulls off some PvP wizardry, which frankly has been known to do, I don't expect Hilton Quiver to last long in the game. They may bag a kill or 2, but otherwise don't expect much in terms of late game victory from this team.
The defending champions have returned. New Dawn, of course, were the winners of the previous All-Stars season, and with 2/3 of their team being All-Stars victors, they will be looking hard to become the first team to win 2 seasons. While Speedo may not have been part of the winning New Dawn team, he is still a great PvP fighter, as seen by his 30 kills in New Dawn. Honestly, what the heck, Speedo? Plus, with 6th ranked Brody and an underrated BJ, this team could prove a great competitor in this game. They will absolutely need to steer clear of the Cataclysms and back in times, but don't be surprised if they last far into this game.
The somehow still active Nuzlocke is also here, having finished 2nd back in Season 3, while Season 4 proved a bit more rough for the young trainers. Season 5 may even be more so. All 3 of these players fall far below average in PvP skills and are not huge UHC players like they used to be. That said, many also couldn't gauge this team's abilities well. Sean specifically had the highest devotion and ratings of all 63 players. Perhaps they're just hiding their true skills. Could other teams just be confused and underrating this team? Is certainly possible.
While I personally had Out of Orbit in the Big 5 teams this season, the ratings put them below average. Both All-Stars Season 3 and 4 saw the same pattern for the Out of Orbit team, a large amount of early game kills followed by harsh game exits later on. These guys are definitely a firecracker of a team. If they get going, they can do some serious damage. Definitely expect at least one team to fall to the Astronauts, but if the pattern holds, they should be able to manage that well. That said, sometimes firecrackers fizzle out, and if they don't manage their game well, that is also a very, very real possibility for our boys in blue.
Pathfinder is back after a long but killless game in All-Star Season 4, and while they may just be one of the most fun teams to watch in the game, their fighting abilities may not be the best. Kitty Falls is the lowest rated player in the game, and both organizers also fall below the average 5.5 score. That said, Joey and America are almost always underrated as players. Every now and again with solid performances they can pop off. That said, the round is full of the highest level fighters as such in the game. I expect a mid-game exit with max 1 to 2 kills to the team's name.
Pathfinder's second team, aka Phobia, comes in with a fully new roster, the only team returning from Season 4 to do so. With 17 kills to the Phobia name, this new squad has large shoes to fill if they want to become the most deadly RR, and with Jamie as the only average player in the team, that may prove difficult for the new Spook Boys. That said, with a mix of Chasmic's aggression, Jamie's willingness to fight, and Kirby's fright of UHC, this team could be in the mix for a few kills, scraped from teams ravaged by the powerhouses. Even if they are entertaining, don't expect them to live long into the game, as strong teams will see an easy target to take down.
The newly reborn Risk and Reward joins the other 4 OG rounds to play every season of All-Stars, and much like the other OG teams, falls just toward the lower side of the rating scale. If they don't get absolutely destroyed by PvE, something easy that creeper, they should prove easier targets for many teams in the game. However, with Advent around, many players should be scared as taking a one-on-one in that fight could add a few kills to the R&R name. I expect a late game lunge by Advent, but the team overall to fall mostly fairly quickly into the game due to PvE or some aggressive powerhouse team looking for early fights.
With one of the most statistically average teams per player ratings, it's interesting that To The End falls on lower end in team rating. While they have had an unsuccessful few seasons in All-Stars, finishing in the bottom half of teams on 3 of 4 occasions, last season they walked away with a full team wipe of WMC, netting them 4 kills in one game. If they can pull something similar off this time but without losing 2/3 of the team doing it, they could last far. While I don't see them lasting forever into the game, it's definitely possible that we can see this team in the later stages of the game, albeit with few kills. I expect this team to last close to the end, but not to make such impact in fights.
Finally reached WMC, the OG of OG UHC groups from the subreddit. While they may have been around for a while, like To The End, they've had a quiet history of Inside All-Stars. While notching 3 of their 4 kills last season fighting To The End, they have finished second before back in Season 2, though, so it's possible we could see another dive into the late game by 1 or 2 of these players. Plus, considering this will be Fairy's 4th season of All-Stars, he may just know how to maneuver the field well. Could this be the season to change their history? Considering they fall into the lower 3 teams, I doubt it.
With that, our super swift stats synopsis comes to a close. Thanks to Kyle and Tom for helping with assets for this video. I'm Kirby MD.
And I'm Quil. Thanks for watching.